Let's break down a massive tech deal that's making waves across the industry. Synopsys is acquiring Ansys for a staggering $35 billion. This isn't just another business transaction, it's one of the largest mergers in the history of technology, and it's set to reshape the landscape of how the world's most advanced electronics are designed and built. You might not recognize these company names, but their software is everywhere. It's the invisible force behind nearly every device you interact with daily, from the smartphone in your pocket to the car you drive, to the smart home devices that make life easier. Even the laptops and tablets we rely on for work and play are powered by technology designed with their tools. Synopsys stands as a global leader in electronic design automation, or EDA software. These are the essential tools that engineers use to design, simulate, and test microchips long before they're ever manufactured. Without EDA software, the complex chips that drive our digital world simply couldn't be created. Without Synopsys, today's powerful, energy-efficient chips wouldn't exist. Their technology is at the heart of everything from artificial intelligence to cloud computing, enabling the next generation of innovation. Ansys, on the other hand, is the gold standard in simulation software. Their tools let engineers test how products will behave in the real world, virtually. From simulating the stress on a bridge to predicting how heat moves through a smartphone, Ansys helps companies innovate faster and safer. By merging, Synopsys and Ansys are aiming to create a powerhouse toolkit for designing not just individual chips, but entire systems. Imagine engineers being able to design, test, and simulate every aspect of a product, from the tiniest transistor to the finished device, all within a single unified platform. The deal is a mix of cash and stock, officially announced in January 2024, but with a merger of this size, it's not just about signing papers. Global regulatory approval is required, and that process can be long and complex. The biggest question mark? China's approval. As the world's largest electronics manufacturing hub, China's regulators have enormous influence over whether this deal can move forward. China's decision could become a major plot point in this unfolding saga. If they say no, the entire deal could be derailed, sending shockwaves through the global tech industry. This isn't just a business move. It could fundamentally reshape how technology is created, tested, and brought to market worldwide. The ripple effects will be felt by companies and consumers everywhere. The merger could change the very foundation of tech innovation, setting new standards for how products are designed and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. It's not just about money, it's about who controls the critical tools that power our digital world. The outcome will determine who leads the next era of technological progress. The stakes are incredibly high, not just for Synopsys and Ansys, but for the entire tech industry. The future of innovation, competition, and even national security could be at play. So how did we get to this pivotal moment, and why does China's decision matter so much in the grand scheme of things? Let's dive into the global chess game behind this deal, and explore the forces shaping the future of technology. To understand why China's approval mattered, you need to know about the ongoing tech Cold War between the US and China. The fight isn't with tanks, but over who leads in AI, 5G, and, most importantly, semiconductors. Semiconductors are the brains of the modern economy, and both countries see controlling them as vital. The US has imposed export controls, restricting American companies from selling advanced tech to China, especially EDA software like Synopsys makes. China can manufacture a lot, but designing cutting-edge chips without US EDA tools is nearly impossible. US restrictions are meant to keep their technological edge and slow China's progress. Global tech companies are caught in the middle. China is a huge market, but US rules are strict. That's why international mergers like Synopsys-Ansys get so complicated. Every move is scrutinized, and business deals become geopolitical chess matches. The Synopsys-Ansys merger became a test case for this global tech rivalry. When Synopsys and Ansys announced their blockbuster merger, they knew that getting approval from regulators around the world would be a challenge. But out of all the hurdles, China's approval stood out as the most unpredictable and potentially the most difficult. The stakes were high, and both companies understood that China's decision could make or break the entire deal. China's antitrust regulator, the State Administration for Market Regulation, or SAMR, has the power to review any global merger that could impact its domestic market, especially when it comes to technology and software that Chinese companies depend on. Chinese tech companies, from chip designers to electronics manufacturers, rely heavily on the specialized software provided by both Synopsys and Ansys. So, when the merger was announced, SAM-R didn't just rubber stamp it. Instead, Beijing's first move was to hit pause and take a very close look at the potential consequences. The message was clear: this deal would not move forward without careful scrutiny. But this wasn't just about antitrust or market competition. It was about something much bigger: the ongoing tech war between the US and China, where control over critical technology has become a central battleground. China feared that a merged Synopsys-Ansys could wield even more power, making it harder for Chinese firms to access the essential design tools they need to compete globally. The anxiety was real. What if the new company decided to limit access, or worse, cut off Chinese customers entirely? The worry was that a single, larger US company could raise prices, reduce technical support, or be forced by US government policies to restrict or even ban sales to Chinese firms. In a world where software is the backbone of innovation, this was a serious threat. SAM-R used its review as a powerful bargaining chip, signaling to both Synopsys and Ansys, and to Washington, that China would protect its tech industry's interests at all costs. The deal was stuck in limbo for months, with China watching every move the US made on export controls and tech sanctions. Would Washington tighten restrictions even further? Would Chinese companies be left scrambling for alternatives? The uncertainty left both sides wondering: would there be room for negotiation, or would the deal collapse under the weight of geopolitics? The fate of this $35 billion mega deal quickly became part of a high-stakes diplomatic game, with both countries' tech ambitions hanging in the balance. China's message was unmistakable: if you want this merger to go through, you cannot leave our companies out in the cold. Access, fairness, and security for Chinese firms had to be guaranteed. The delay wasn't just bureaucratic red tape, it was a calculated, strategic move. China was playing for time, using every tool at its disposal to shape the outcome in its favor. The world watched as the US and China played a tense game of regulatory chess, each move scrutinized by global markets and tech companies everywhere. The outcome of this standoff would set a powerful precedent for future tech deals, shaping how global mergers are handled in an era of rising geopolitical tension and technological rivalry. In a move that caught many industry watchers by surprise, the US Commerce Department quietly eased some of its strict export restrictions on advanced chip design software. This decision, made without much fanfare, marked a subtle but important shift in the ongoing tech standoff between the US and China. While it wasn't a full reversal of previous policies, the adjustment signaled a noticeably softer stance from Washington. It suggested that the US was willing to recalibrate its approach, perhaps recognizing the complexity and interconnectedness of the global tech industry. The new rules allowed certain less critical chip design tools to be sold to select Chinese customers, opening a narrow but significant window for business to resume. For many companies, this was a welcome relief after months of uncertainty and stalled deals. This policy shift was likely the result of intense lobbying by US tech giants, who argued that blanket bans could ultimately harm American competitiveness and innovation. Industry leaders warned that shutting out Chinese customers entirely could backfire, pushing them to develop rival technologies. By moving toward a more targeted, nuanced approach to export controls, the US aimed to protect its interests without stifling its own tech sector or alienating key global partners. With this policy adjustment, China's powerful market regulator, the SAM-R, now had the political cover it needed to approve the long-delayed Synopsys-Ansys merger. The timing was no coincidence. The US showed flexibility, and in response, China could greenlight the deal without appearing to bow to foreign pressure or compromise its own regulatory standards. Not long after, on July 14, 2025, China granted conditional approval for the merger, making headlines around the world and sending a clear signal to the global tech community. The approval came with a set of conditions, but it cleared the final regulatory hurdle that had been holding the deal back for months. Ultimately, the fate of this massive deal was decided by a subtle but strategic shift in US policy, a reminder of how even small changes can have outsized impacts. This episode was a textbook example of how business interests and geopolitics are now deeply intertwined, with every move on one side triggering a response on the other. With just a small policy tweak, a $35 billion deal that once seemed impossible was suddenly unlocked, unleashing new opportunities for both companies and their global partners. The Synopsys-Ansys merger was finally a go, setting the stage for a new era of collaboration and competition in the semiconductor industry. The global tech landscape had just shifted, and the ripple effects would be felt in boardrooms and innovation labs around the world for years to come. China's approval came with strict conditions. The new company must supply software to Chinese clients on fair, non-discriminatory terms. Synopsys-Ansys must ensure their software works with third-party tools, preserving competition. They're required to keep business practices transparent and report to Chinese regulators. Any changes due to U.S. export controls must minimize impact on Chinese customers. These rules are China's way of protecting its tech industry while allowing the deal. So what does this mean for the industry? It's huge. The combined company can now offer a seamless platform, from chip design to system simulation. This silicon-to-systems approach is a game-changer, letting engineers design and test entire products virtually. It saves time, money, and leads to better, more reliable tech. For the US and allies, it strengthens their lead in foundational chip software. For China, it's a double-edged sword. Access is protected for now, but dependence on US tech deepens. The merger widens the gap between US and Chinese chip design capabilities. The race for homegrown alternatives in China just got more urgent. In 2025, you can't talk tech without talking AI, and this merger is right at the center. Designing next-gen chips for AI is so complex, it's now impossible without AI-powered tools. Synopsys already uses AI to optimize chip layouts. With Ansys, they can now simulate entire systems. Imagine AI designing and testing chips and products virtually, millions of times faster than humans. This is crucial for everything from data centers to self-driving cars. The new platform will accelerate innovation and safety, pushing the industry toward generative design. Synopsys-Ansys isn't just selling software, they're enabling the next wave of breakthroughs. When China's approval came, markets cheered. The biggest risk was gone, and both companies' stocks jumped. Investors saw the strategic logic. Merging chip design and simulation is a winning combo. The new company can cross-sell, bundle, and outpace competitors. Challenges remain, integrating cultures, navigating geopolitics, but the rewards look bigger than the risks. The market's message: this merger is a bet on future tech leadership. The door is open for growth. Synopsys-Ansys is now a powerhouse. The deal is done. But why should you care? Synopsys and Ansys will now build a unified platform, connecting chip design and simulation. The impact will reach you through better products, smarter phones, safer cars, more efficient devices. This merger signals the future, designing entire systems, not just parts. It's a bet on AI-driven, integrated engineering. The deal shows how business, tech, and politics are all connected. A handful of companies shape the digital world you live in. The Synopsys-Ansys union will quietly shape your tech for years to come. The future of innovation just got a major upgrade. And it all started with a $35 billion handshake.